so now let's do the new project cards that came with Venus. Sorry, Prelude 2. And yeah, I'm just gonna do the ones that are actually part of the expansion. I think the ones that were the promos, you can see all these videos here, they're all there. And they didn't change. Some of the ones in the expansions are too, but I'm still gonna talk about all of the ones that are officially part of the expansion. So okay, let's start here. Ceres Tech Market. So this is one of the ones we've already seen. I think this is basically a last point card. Last turn card that you get money, 1 point. Because you're gonna get 2 for every colony. That probably almost pays back the 12 that you're paying for it. And then you're gonna get double for each card to discard. So, you know, when you're in the last generation, you're looking for one last card to play, or maybe discarding a few of your other cards. I think this is good, and so it's probably a cheap point and maybe the opportunity to play an additional card. I don't think it's cheap enough to be played for the science tag a lot of the time, unless there's a lot of colonies, and in which case, yeah, play it early and then use the effect whenever. It doesn't matter. But yeah, mostly a last turn card. It's decent, not super related to colonies. Next up, it's Cloud Tourism. And this is a card that almost does things well, but not good enough. So it has 2 tags, the Unity tags, except Earth, which are tags I like. It has Flourish to itself, and it gives you 1, 2, 3, which is never good enough. Like you want 1, 2, 2, and you want to be able to add the Flourish somewhere else. And then you also get 1 production for every Earth plus Venus, so every pair, right? So if you have 7 Venus and 2 Earth, you get 2 production, which is bad. I don't think you ever get that. Like, getting more than 3 here is gonna be tough, and at a price of 11, you get like mediocre production, mediocre points. It's just not good enough. It's trying to do many things and not being good enough at any of them. So I don't think I would play this almost ever, but hey, maybe at some point I have a bunch of tags and that it's different, but yeah, I don't think so. Okay, next up, Colonial Envoys. Now, so this requires unity ruling, and you can place 1 delegate for every colony that you have, and you may place them in separate so you can place them in any form that you'd like. I think this is pretty good. Unity ruling is not a rare thing. A lot of people like Unity. One of these parties, and so it's for every colony that you have, right? So it's probably gonna be 2 delegates, maybe 3, but 2 delegates for 7 is fine, and it's an event, so you might get discounts. So I mean, this is fine. It's never gonna be broken. I mean, you might get 3 delegates for 7, which is a really good deal, but it's still not broken. I don't think you'd get more than that. Okay, now Colonial Representation. So you get +1 influence. That's already very good. And then you get 3 back for every colony you have. Now, I will say there's one thing I don't like about the colony cards is that I see a lot of these rebate back for every colony you have, which is, I get it's related to the expansion, but I wanted a little more interaction. I'll get into that in another video, but this basically gonna cost you a little less than the other card that does this, because you're probably gonna have 1 or 2 colonies, right? So if you can pay 4 for +1 influence, that's worth it. Absolutely worth it. If you play 7, 2. Yeah, you're paying 13 to buy the card. So 10, yeah, I would still pay 10 for +1 influence early. Okay, next up, Envoys from Venus. So 3 Venus attack requirement. It's a Venus event, and it places 2 delegates on the same party. This is a great, like, last minute a coup on the chair, on whoever's gonna win a party, because basically with 2 delegates you usually take over if you're 1 behind, right? Or maybe just put enough on your party to put it in power. So yeah, I really like this one, because it's really cheap. It is Venus, right? So you have to be on Venus to play it, but basically a real unexpected way to like take someone next turn's plans away from them and just put your party in power really quickly. Okay, next up, Floating Refinery. This is a weird one. So it's the first card ever that is like remove floaters from anywhere, which is nice because sometimes you have some floaters left over that you're not using now. I think you have to remove both from the same card, the way I read the card. So it says, add one floater here, or remove two floaters from any card to get one titanium and two ebony. And then you get one floater for each Venus tag. So if you have a bunch of Venus tags, like say you have three, just three, and you play these will start with 4 Venus tags, which means you can take 2 titanium plus 4, that's 10, so it pays back. Like if you have 3 Venus tags, this pays back. And that would be when I would play it. I don't think I wanna often take my floors from other cards late in the game to get titanium and money. It's not that much, and you can only place it on itself. So with 4 tags it pays back, and then if you get 3 more turns, then you get a little extra. But with, yeah, you'd have to have 3 Venus tags plus this one for it to be worth it, and I think that's not bad. I wouldn't draft this early, but if I draw it, I would definitely play it. Frontier Town. Now this one is a very interesting one. So it requires 2 delegates or Mars first ruling. And then it places a city, so it's gonna be a very cheap city. It costs energy, but it doesn't give you production. It does give you a printed placement bonus twice. Sorry, 3 times, 2 additional times. And my first thought was Hellas. So that ocean in Hellas. Now that's you're gonna have to pay 18 more, but you're paying 18 for 3 oceans, and plus the 11 for the city, right? So it's, I mean, you gotta have money available that turn that you do it, but getting 3 oceans and then just placing those oceans and probably getting like, it's Hellas, so there aren't that many good plant spots, but you're probably getting 5 plants if you go in the north. Not bad. But then somewhere else like Elysium, you could just like place it on the 3 plant spot. Definitely a good city to place on the 3 plant spot, and then you're picking up 9 plants. You can place the Refinery immediately. Now the only 2 card spot. Oh, there's that Elysium 3 card spot too. Jesus. So definitely would place it there too. You could draw 9 cards with this. I really like this card. Now that Elysium spot is a horrible place for a city, but yeah, this is really interesting. Frontier Town, and it's also a super cheap city. So for the end of the game, it's actually awesome too. Now the best spots are gonna be gone, but 11 for a city. You don't have production, but you don't need it, and it doesn't have like the minus points that like Corporate Stronghold has. And you still, like, if you place it on 2 plants, which that might be gone, but it might be available, then you get 6. So yeah, really nice. If you place it on 2 steel, which is definitely gonna be available in Hellas, you get 6 steel. It pays for itself. So I really like that one. GHG Shipment, another of the ones that we already had seen. So you're gonna get, you need the Calvinists to be ruling, or 2 delegates, and then 1 hit production, and then you get 1 hit from each floater you have, which could be a lot. So I mean, obviously, if you have floaters, this is good. Basically, it's also a space event, so it's probably gonna be free. But if you have floaters, like, you could easily get 1 or 2 temperature steps here, and this is another good like thermalist stealer. So Impactor Swarm now has competition. The 2 delegates at the end of the game in the Calvinists does make it harder, but yeah. Ishtar Expedition. Another one we had already seen. Like this pays back immediately, right? If you draw a space tag, this just you know pays back immediately. You did 10% Venus, you draw 2 Venus tags. I think this is pretty good, and the 2 Venus cards will go with your strategy. So yeah, I mean, the 3 titanium just make this totally worth it, essentially. The Venus cards are gravy. So okay, another weird one, Microgravity Nutrition. So you get a plant and a microbe tag, and then 1 production for each colony that you have, and then 1 point. So does a little bit of everything. What's this early? 2 production, 1 point, a plant and a microbe tag. Like it might be worth it. Just like the plant tag might make it worth it. Like, you're going for ecologist, yeah, for sure. It's like no requirements on a plant tag, or if you have an array, you're probably only getting two production, but you're getting a point, so it's fine. Another colony card that it's like generic, so okay. L1 trade terminal. I really like this one. That's another of the ones we had seen, and this gives you +2 steps on every colony. Trading with these is insane, but you also get 2 points and 3 resources. Now, I don't think you have to have a place to put the 3 resources on, because of cards like imported nitrogen. If you don't have a place to put the microbes, you can still play it, right? So, like, I think if you have 2, you can just ignore the third one. But if that's not the case, then this is a bit harder to play, because getting cards that you can put resources on is not that simple, right? Getting 3 is not that simple. So, but yeah, otherwise getting this done early, super good. Like, this is my favorite colonies card of the set. Okay, then Jovian Envoys, another like last minute coup on the Senate, or Parliament, I guess. You need 2 Jovian tags, the other one you need 3 Venus tags. It's also an event. And yeah, just place 2 delegates on one party. So very similar to that one. What's easier, 3 Venus or 2 Jovian? I mean, Jovians tend to be more expensive, Venus are more niche. But I think with colonies, Jovians are probably easier. So yeah, and then there's wild tags, right? So yeah, it's very similar to that other one. It's just like last turn, like, yeah, I'm chairman next turn, right? And then red appeasement, we had also seen this one. I really love this one. So reds have to be ruling or 2 delegates there, and no other player can have passed. And then you play this and you pass, right? So obviously the 2 production for 0, this base backs into generation, assuming that you bought it for 3. So it's just like it's sponsors, but discounted. It's just tricky to play because you have to pass immediately. So you wanna do all your actions before that, but no other player can pass, right? So if you go first, you have a much bigger chance of doing this. Otherwise, at the beginning, usually whoever goes first is gonna pass first. Unless your opponent has tappy actions, which always make the game a little slower. So, but yeah, I really like it. Okay, soil studies. So you get a plant for every Venus, plant, and colony. And then it's a max -4, which is pretty late anyway. And microbe and a plant tag, but it's an event, so you don't get the plant. This is just weird. I think this is just so we can help Aphrodite, honestly. Because Venus and plants are not just a common thing that you combine. Colonies go with everything. But, yeah. And then 13, I mean, say you have 2 colonies, 6 plant tags, and like 4 Venus tags. That's a pretty high scenario, right? Because you went into plants and Venus. That's 12 plants for 13, is that? I mean, that's decent. But I don't like this card. Okay, this one I do like. So this one, green's ruling or 2 delegates there, and you steal 4 plants. Now there's a good chance you don't find the right time to play this card, but if you do, it's a motherfucker, right? Like, imagine someone sitting on 8 plants, and instead of blowing up 4, you're stealing 4 and then placing a greenery. It's gonna be one of the most painful things. Yeah. And really, you can plan it from the turn before. You can do your free delegate, and then beginning of next turn, put your other delegate there, steal the plants. You have to wait an action to place the greenery, but I really like that you can steal plants, and it's 4. It's such a nasty number. Yeah. Okay, sponsoring nation. Requires 4 Earth tax. Not that easy, but the value on these, like 3 terraforming rating, and 2 delegates for 21, that's really good. So you can, again, 2 delegates can go different parties, I guess. It doesn't show any restrictions. But yeah, I think the value is good if you have the Earth tax basically, and yeah, not much else to say about this one. Okay, Stratopheric Expedition. So you add 2 floors to any card, and you draw 2 Venus cards, and you get a point. Again, doing a little bit of everything. If you have floral card, it's worth it. It's also good, like if you're, yeah, if you're going for Venus, like definitely drawing 2 Venus cards is good. And a point, yeah, I think this is more than fine, totally fine, not broken. And again, Venus needs this kind of card to be played a little more. Okay, now the science one. Summit Logistics. We knew about this one too. So, Jovian, 1 cash back for every Unity plus colony. Now that can be a lot, because Earth tags are a lot, and if you're going Venus and Jovian, it wouldn't be weird to like pay the 13 back here with the colonies, right? It's also a building space, which is a rare combination, and you get 2 cards. So basically, you might get 2 cards for free, plus you turn some metals into cash. Late in the game, you probably can get like 20 cash even out of this. It wouldn't be crazy. And 2 cards, but I feel like this card needs a point. Okay, then next up is Unexpected Application. Just discard a card to terraform Venus. This is late game. This is a joke. Like you probably have 1 card that you don't need, and then 4 for a full terraforming step is insane. So yeah, I love this one. I think it's really good. Then Venus Allies. So you raise Venus 2 steps, and then you get again another colony rebate. Now this is the best one. You get 4 for each colony, and 2 points. So this is actually this is a 4 point card that is probably getting an 8 to 12 rebate. So I mean, let's just say 8. 25 for 4 points, including terraforming Venus. So that's like you could get a bonus on that track. Like it's just a point card, right? That's just how I see it, a point card. But it's a really good one, I think. Because like you should probably have 2 colonies, right? If you have 3, then it's just a really cheap 4 point card. Okay, Venus Orbital Survey. Reveal the top 2 cards, take any Venus card to hand for free, any other card you either buy or discard. This is insane. This is it's like AI Central. I mean, you're drawing 2 cards per turn, and if it's Venus, you don't pay for it. Which is fine. Like, paying 3 for a card that you like, it's good. And you see the 2 extra cards per turn, and you don't need 3 science tags. You don't need the energy production. Sure, you don't get the point, and you have to pay for the cards. But tap to see 2 cards, maybe get 1 for free, and if not, just buy. Like, I would totally play this if I'm not going for Venus. Like, I could very easily put this in the deck if I'm not using the Venus expansion and still use it. Like, seeing 2 cards with the chance to buy them every turn is a great thing. So, yeah. AI Central to me has competition with this. I want to try it. I'm not sure. Like, what do you guys think? Am I overstating it? Just because you have to pay the cards if they're not Venus, but I mean, remember, you don't need the science tags, and the AI Central is arguably 10 more expensive because it costs 21 plus 7 for an energy. So, like, the first 3 cards you pay for are sort of like only making up for that. And you can play this Gen 1, so best card in the set for sure. Let me know your thoughts, because I don't, I think it is, but yeah. Okay, then Venus Shuttles. So you pay 12, so decreased by each Venus tax, and to terraform Venus. So I think this one, and then you can add 2 floors to any Venus tag. Yeah, like paying if you're paying 8 for a terraforming state every turn, that's good. You're paying 9 up front, 12 up front with a card. But like if you have 3 Venus tags plus this, I think that's worth it. And you're getting 2 floaters, which is like if you have Venus tags, that's probably good. So yeah, I think this is better than any of the floater terraformers because you can do it every turn. You have to pay, but you can do it every turn, and it gets cheaper. Like the more Venus cards you play, it gets cheaper and cheaper. It's not crazy to have like 8 Venus tags if you go heavy Venus. And this expansion added a lot of Venus tags, and there's also wild tags, right? The wild tags would count for this. So, yeah, this could get really good. And imagine if you have like that, the Prelude gives you the rebate. Yeah, awesome. Venus Trade Hub. Okay, another one we had seen, but one of my favorite colony ones. When you trade, you get in 3MC. So a rebate when trading, I love it. It's essentially like a colony bonus, right? Like, but every time you trade. It just requires 2 Venus tags though, and gets a point for 12. So, like, consider that it has a point. Say that's worth 5. You need 4 trades for this to pay back. Yeah, if you play this early, it's great. Okay, and I think this is the last one. Yeah, World Government Project. It requires that you're chairman, but I think it's great. There are 3 preludes and play one of them. You're paying 12. A prelude on average is worth around 21. So it means you're getting 9 of value, like right there. Like if you draw donation, you're basically at any point in the game just getting 12 cash, which is really good. That's a really underrated thing to do. Like it's usually better than production, because production takes a while to pay. Like, what's it called? Sponsors, for example, or acquired company. Acquired company Gen 1 is gonna produce 27 cash, and you paid 13 for it, right? So you get 14 cash. This is giving you 9 right there. Like, this is gonna be ahead of acquired company, which is a no-brainer in your opening hand for 8 generations. And you could get a better prelude because you're drawing 3. If you only drew 1, then I would have my serious doubts about this one. But if you draw 3, you probably see one that you like. So yeah, I think this one's strong. I don't think it's broken, but I think it's really strong. And that's it. Those are all the new cards. Let me know what you think. And yeah, see you next time.